Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're going to explore the moment everything changes. Alex finally shows Tuna the life he's been building for her and Henry. But will this dream become their new reality, or will one unexpected turn threaten the peace they've just found? If you enjoy the story, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next videos. The late afternoon sun stretched across the freshly mowed field, and the air carried that clean mix of new earth and dry grass. A light breeze moved over the red dirt path as Alex walked beside Tuna, holding her hand gently, not rushing her through what he was about to show. Ahead, the first row of stables stood in neat lines, the wood freshly painted. Inside the pens, the dairy cows chewed slowly, their low sounds blending into the quiet countryside. Alex stopped and pointed toward the herd, his voice deep, controlled, but full of meaning. "This is our beginning, Tuna," he said. "These cows will give milk every day, enough for Henry to grow strong and healthy." Tuna didn't answer right away. She stared as if her mind was checking whether this was real. Her fingers tightened around his hand. A place like this, land, animals, space, was something she'd watched other people have, never something she let herself expect. Then tears slid down her cheeks. Quiet tears, not from sadness, but from relief that felt unfamiliar. For years, she'd measured life in survival choices: which bill could wait, which meal could stretch, which worry had to be swallowed because there was no time to fall apart. Standing here, she felt those years loosen in her chest. She looked at Alex. He wasn't showing off or asking for praise. He was steady, like he'd decided she and Henry deserved better, and he was going to make it happen. The loneliness of being a single mother, the constant sense of carrying everything alone, shifted, replaced by the idea that she could finally share the weight. Alex wiped her tears with his thumb. "From now on," he said quietly, "you won't have to face everything alone." Tuna nodded because words felt too fragile. She squeezed his hand once, a silent thank you. They stood there with the herd behind them and the light fading, like two people stepping into the same future. As the sun dipped lower, Alex's excitement showed more openly as he led her to the pig enclosure. Piglets rolled and tumbled in the dirt, squealing like they were made of mischief. "These little ones will grow fast," Alex said, "and we'll have clean meat, no chemicals, nothing to worry about." Tuna smiled, and the smile reached her eyes. She pictured simple meals made from what they raised here, food she didn't have to bargain for or second guess. She pictured Henry eating without her doing mental math at the market. That image alone felt like freedom. Next were the chicken coops. The sound hit them before they reached the fence. Hens clucking and shifting, busy and bright. It was noisy but comforting, like the place had a heartbeat. Alex turned to her. "Every morning you'll have fresh eggs for Henry," he said. "We'll be self-sufficient, peaceful." Tuna looked at him, her heart pulling in a way she hadn't expected. She'd believed happiness came only in small moments. One quiet night, one good sale, one day without bad news. But Alex was offering stability, built into the ground beneath their feet. She leaned lightly against his shoulder. "Thank you for everything." Alex wrapped his arms around her, warm and steady. The past didn't vanish, but it stopped feeling like it owned her. The wind moved softly through the field, and for a moment the world shrank down to the two of them and the child waiting at the center of their lives. Tuna closed her eyes and breathed in. This wasn't just a farm. It was a promise that tomorrow wouldn't have to be scary. By the time they reached the new house, twilight had settled. Light spilled from the windows in a soft golden glow. Tuna carried Henry inside and stepped into the nursery Alex had prepared. Pale blue walls, a new wooden crib, curtains that swayed slightly. Everything looked simple, clean, and careful, like it had been chosen with love. She laid Henry down gently, stroking his hair, humming the lullaby he knew by heart. Henry yawned, eyelids drooping, then reached for her finger and held it with that small, trusting grip that always made her chest ache. Tuna sat beside the crib, singing softly. Her voice trembled, not from fear, but from emotion. For the first time in a long time, she felt true quiet. No traffic, no cramped rental worries, no panic about tomorrow's costs. This house belonged to them. Henry would grow here, surrounded by warmth. She kissed his forehead and tears came again, but these were different. These were the tears that show up when you realize you're safe. From the doorway, Alex watched without speaking. He didn't interrupt or claim the moment. He simply stood there, eyes soft, letting the scene fill him with pride. Tuna looked up and met his gaze, smiling through tears. She didn't need to explain it. He understood. Henry drifted into deeper sleep, breathing steady and calm. Tuna tucked the blanket around him and stepped out quietly, like she didn't want to disturb the peace that had finally found them. Later, soft neon from a boutique lit Tuna's face, highlighting tiredness that had lived there for years. Only now it was starting to lift under surprise. Alex opened the car door and helped her out, his voice warm and practical. "Today is special," he said. "You deserve to be spoiled a little." Tuna hesitated, fingers brushing the frayed shoulder of her old shirt. Her first instinct was to refuse. She'd trained herself to say no to anything that wasn't necessary. But Alex's calm gaze made her swallow the protest. She nodded and followed him inside. The store was cool, filled with gentle music. Alex led her to the long dress section and picked out a pale jade green silk gown that caught the light like water. "Try it on," he said. Tuna stepped into the fitting room, heart racing. She changed slowly, hands trembling as she smoothed the fabric. When she pulled back the curtain, she stopped in front of the mirror and barely recognized herself. The dress fit perfectly, showing a beauty she'd forgotten. Not because it was gone, but because life had demanded she stop looking for it. Alex stood behind her, reflected in the glass. "You look stunning, Tuna." Her cheeks flushed. She lowered her gaze, shy and overwhelmed. In that moment, years of exhaustion felt like they softened. She met his eyes in the mirror. "Do you really want me to wear this?" she whispered. Alex stepped closer and wrapped his arms around her from behind. "Not just today," he said. "Every day after this." Tuna closed her eyes, letting his warmth settle over her. She could feel her heart learning how to trust again. Alex placed her old dress gently on the counter. Then he turned back to her. "From now on, you don't have to wear worn-out things," he said. "I want you to always feel worthy." The words cut through her defenses. Tuna bit her lip, trying to hold back tears, but they fell anyway. She remembered buying secondhand clothes to save every penny for Henry. Now she saw someone being chosen, not out of pity, but out of love. Alex paid and took her hand. At the door, he paused. "You're most beautiful when you smile," he said. Tuna laughed softly. She leaned her head against his chest for a moment, listening to his steady heartbeat. Outside, streetlights flickered on and the night air cooled her cheeks. Alex kissed her forehead. "Come on," he said. "Henry's waiting." Tuna nodded, fingers interlacing with his, and stepped out of the boutique in her new dress, carrying a quiet hope that felt like it could finally really last. Night came in quietly, and the road looked almost peaceful under streetlights that spilled warm gold onto the pavement. Alex drove with a steady focus, but every so often he glanced toward Tuna like he was checking whether she was still okay. She sat beside him in the jade green dress, the silk catching small flashes of light. In the back, Henry slept bundled and calm. Neither of them rushed to talk. The day had been full in a way that made words feel heavy. Tuna watched the village slide by outside the window, thinking about how everything looked the same while her life felt new. She kept one hand on the fabric at her lap, feeling how smooth it was, almost like proof that today had happened. Earlier, she would have worried about spilling something, ruining it, wasting money she didn't have. Now the worry showed up, then faded, replaced by a quieter thought. Henry would grow up seeing his mother treated with kindness. That idea felt bigger than the dress, bigger than the farm. It felt like a reset, like a chance to stop teaching herself to expect disappointment. She didn't know how to accept it yet, but she wanted to learn. Alex broke the silence first. "Are you cold?" he asked. Tuna blinked, pulled back from her thoughts. "No," she said. After a beat, she admitted, "I'm just still trying to believe all of it." He nodded. He didn't give a speech. He simply reached over and rested his hand on hers, steady contact as if to say, "I'm here." A few minutes later, Alex slowed and pulled over beside a small ice cream stand. It was just a cart with a warm bulb and a simple menu board, but it glowed in the dark like a safe place. He turned off the engine and looked at her. "Let's stop for a minute," he said. Tuna hesitated, then nodded. Alex opened her door, then glanced at Henry to make sure he was still asleep. He walked to the stand and came back with 2 cones, vanilla for himself, strawberry for her. He handed hers over with a small smile. "Have some ice cream," he said, "like when we were young." Tuna took a bite. The sweetness melted on her tongue and pulled a soft laugh out of her. It reminded her of a version of life where joy didn't come with a bill attached. They sat on a stone bench near the cart. Henry slept in the stroller beside them, tiny chest rising and falling. Tuna leaned her head onto Alex's shoulder and the move felt natural. "Today feels like a dream, Alex," she whispered. Alex wrapped an arm around her shoulders. "It's not a dream," he said. "This is our reality now." Tuna lifted her eyes to his face. Under the streetlight, he looked softer, less like the man who always had to be in control and more like someone who'd been carrying worry, too. She noticed how careful he was with her, like he understood she could be grateful and frightened at the same time. For years, Tuna had believed happiness was temporary. She'd learned to expect the moment when the good thing disappeared. But sitting here with ice cream slowly melting, with Henry sleeping peacefully close by, and with Alex's arm around her, she felt something new, the possibility that joy could stay. Alex reached up and wiped a small smudge of strawberry cream from the corner of her mouth. It was a tiny gesture, but it made her throat tighten. It was care, offered like it was normal. Tuna caught his hand and pressed it lightly against her cheek. His palm was slightly rough, the kind of roughness that comes from real work. They sat in quiet for a while. When Tuna finished her cone, she smiled again, and this time the smile felt easy. Alex stood and offered his hand. "Let's go home," he said. The drive back felt shorter. When the house appeared, it looked bright and steady, golden light pouring from the windows. Alex parked, walked around and opened Tuna's door. Then he carefully lifted Henry from the stroller, supporting his head so he wouldn't wake. Henry made a small sleepy sound and settled against Alex's chest. Tuna watched, and her chest tightened with emotion. She'd carried Henry alone for so long that seeing someone else hold him with confidence and gentleness still felt unreal. Inside, the air was warm. The scent of fresh wood mixed with the soft, milky smell of baby things. Tuna stepped into the living room and paused, taking it in. Simple furniture, clean walls, quiet space that didn't feel borrowed. Alex carried Henry into the nursery and laid him in the crib. He tucked the blanket the way Tuna always did, smoothing the edge with care. Henry sighed and stayed asleep. When Alex came back out, he stood behind Tuna and wrapped his arms around her. They didn't speak for a moment. The clock ticked softly. Tuna swallowed. "Thank you," she whispered, "for giving Henry and me a place we can call home." Alex kissed the top of her head. "Thank you for trusting me," he replied. Tuna turned and hugged him fully. Tears slipped out again, but she didn't hide them. Alex didn't tell her to stop. He just held her, firm and warm. After a while, Alex stepped back and looked at her. "Go change and get comfortable," he said. "I'll take care of the little things." Tuna nodded and went to the bedroom. As she changed out of the dress, she caught her reflection. She still saw tiredness in her eyes, but she also saw softness returning. When she came back out in simple clothes, Alex was in the kitchen warming milk and setting Henry's bottle on the counter. He moved quietly. Tuna watched him and felt relief, and then a flicker of fear, that old reflex that said, "Don't trust it too much." Alex noticed her expression. "We'll do this one day at a time," he said. "Okay?" Tuna nodded slowly. "Okay." They checked on Henry together. He slept deeply, cheeks round, lips slightly parted. Tuna adjusted the blanket and Alex stood beside her, watching. Back in the living room, they sat on the couch. Tuna rested her head on Alex's shoulder. Alex spoke softly. "Tomorrow we'll start planning the routines," he said. "Who feeds what when we check the pens, what you want to handle, what I should handle? We'll make it work without wearing you out."